Welcome to Something Crunchy. Tyler is homies with Blake. Blake is the older bro of Blair. Blair is married to Tyler, and is a slutty slut.
Welcome to Something Crunchy.
What the hell is crunchy?
Welcome to Something Crunchy.
Alright, back in the studio with T-Wolf and Zombie. Let's put them up.
Simple and classic.
How are we feeling tonight?
I'm terrified for what you have in store for us tonight, brother.
Ooh,
So true.
it's good.
Crunchtober has been good so far.
Has been.
We're about to turn it up a notch.
It gets wilder.
It gets better.
It gets
after
better
that.
after that.
Before we get started, don't you guys sleep on the big discounts you can get on those big watches over at Invicta. Discount code CRUNCHY for up to 35% off. And the deadline for the 8080 38th Dream Car giveaway is almost here. To encourage you to check out the quality apparel 8080 has to offer, especially those sweats this time of year. They're offering double entries right now, meaning every dollar you spend gives you 2 entries to win a 2017 Acura NSX Plus $30,000 in cash. Biscuits! Just between us girls.
Mm-hmm.
You like those high production haunted houses? Is that what you like to do?
I love them. I love them so much.
You love them? No.
If it has like a celebrity name attached to it, extra points, because, you know, they're not going to just put their
Name on
title
crap.
Yeah.
'Tis the season for a good haunted house, but it's 2020, so we don't get these things anymore. Fortunately for you, we got some stories tonight so crunchy they'll slap your tits off. All right, that's overselling it a bit. But they're funny, okay? We do funny here.
Of course.
Y'all know I can hang with the haunted house stories, too.
Yes.
As you know, I have successfully hooked up in a haunted house attraction without getting caught even, which was disappointing. And I'd say I'd unsuccessfully took a bunch of shrooms before entering Texas' largest haunted house
Oh,
with 3D
gosh.
effects and the glasses,
Blake.
glitter.
Yeah. Glitter.
That was closer to a war story. 2 girlfriends with 2 totally different Blake stories. These haunted house stories definitely put out. And let's start with the best stories from guests.
I'm excited.
Don't drink and haunt. I was so lost and stumbling my way through these houses. There was like 5. Lost my group in the first house. Didn't realize I was alone until the 3rd. Instead of pressing on and just thinking logically, oh, they went ahead and I'll catch up or meet with them at the end, I go backwards, heading back to the previous houses the wrong way.
Oh my God, no.
This was a bad move. People were so pissed. Half thought I was trying to scare them, but in a shitty drunk guy costume, the staff wouldn't break character but kept trying to direct me the other way. And I got so turned around forgetting which direction was what. I found my way between 2 of the houses and just yacked in front of like 100 people. I mean, ugly puking, fully standing up in the middle of a crowd while looking for people I knew.
Scary puking.
I was escorted out by security shortly after that and went to go hurl a bit more in the parking lot while I waited.
Hey, that's the way. You're just like by yourself, and you eventually find your friends. Like, oh, how'd it go?
I feel like I've drank before going into a haunted house. I don't think I remember coming in like sloppy drunk because I feel like you should know better than that. You should know better before taking boomers
Yeah, but
too.
then there's-
Totally.
you should.
Yeah, because everything you did was completely by the book.
I never recommend drinking before an expensive experience. If you want to remember something that you're paying a lot of money for, probably don't just get boozed up.
Unless it's like the right concert, that's totally boozable. A football
That's why
game
you do
too.
certain drugs.
You do the good stuff that you remember afterwards.
October 2014, best haunted house ever. It wasn't even a good house, to be honest. A low-budget local one. But I went with a big group, and we all took E.
Fun.
See, exactly.
Yeah.
I was never scared the whole time, but rather would just critique each actor on their performances.
Exactly.
And tell the good ones that they were good.
You're not scared.
There were blacklight rooms, which we favored, and I was practically making out with my crush like the whole night, which was awesome. Even the music we found fun in there. It was the most fun night, except I lost my shoe and kept stepping on rocks and shit.
See, that's a great night. That's everything I was just saying.
It was like the perfect story to
Yeah,
follow
to
up
follow
your
up on
point.
it.
It's
Exactly.
true. And
Yeah.
that's so
Point-
much of a
point
better
made.
haunted house. But it's so true. It doesn't make it scary. And you would be like, you're good.
You're
no.
doing such a good
like,
job
you are
scaring
really
everyone.
good.
You're
like,
so cute.
You're talented.
You are worthy.
Public service announcement. Never Be the cool parent to take your kids and their friends to a haunted house. I took my boys to their first real haunted house and not some walkthrough at someone's house in the neighborhood. They ended up each inviting a couple of friends, and the next thing I know, I have a van full of boys and not one parent offering to chaperone. They were so not ready for this shit. My youngest was crying the whole time. One of the boys peed himself, and I lost 2 others. Literally had to get staff involved with flashlights to help find these boys after I couldn't find them.
Oh my God, stop.
Oh, that's a nightmare.
Where the fuck is Jimmy?
They were the older, more explorative ones and got ahead and actually found them taunting one of the actors locked in a cage. It was a miserable nightmare, and I needed an adult for every boy there plus one for me. I'll never do it again. Not ever.
Done. You guys figured
I'm
out.
done. I'm done.
Did it. Done.
I feel like as a parent, you always go to that like one concert or that one movie or that
And then
one. You're like, yep.
And that's it.
And that's it. That was the last time.
That was an awful experience, and I'd never like to do that again.
Next time it's the neighbor's turn. I'm not doing that shit.
Teenagers are a nightmare.
I had a huge crush on one of my cousin's friends. One year he came with us to the Headless Horseman hayride, 5th house in. This guy with a chainsaw got me good. No, I mean like I actually peed myself. For some reason, I ran out of the house yelling, "I peed!" thinking my brother would be out there to laugh with me since, he went into the house ahead. Instead, the only person outside happened to be my crush. Shit.
A peed shit. That's not who I expected.
What are you doing here? Fuck.
And I'm fucking embarrassed.
My sister and I went to the House of Torment in Austin when I was 16.
That sounds familiar.
We were getting super scared and super baked, as per usual at these haunted houses. But at a point, I just couldn't take it anymore. Literally dropped to the ground because I was so high.
This is so high.
I can't keep going.
My sister proceeded to pick me up and practically drag me through the rest of this house while making the angriest face I've ever seen. She was in full protection mode. What was funny was that after she started making that face, literally no one was popping out to scare us. I actually saw one guy about to jump out at us, but he saw her face and retreated. She literally scared the people that were supposed to scare us.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That must have been a face.
Yeah, it's scary bitch face right there.
Just
Protecting
Just
her
don't.
young.
pissed off sister
Just
who got too
don't
high.
even try and
I
scare
can
me.
relate. The first time I was ever in a professional haunted corn maze, I was like 12. I was there with my mom, dad, brother, and a couple of our friends. About 1 minute into the maze, a zombie clown with a chainsaw jumped out of the corn
Oh, no,
and
pass.
full on ran at me. I screamed, turned around, and made a jump into my mother's arms that would have impressed Scooby and Shaggy. She had a broken ankle at the time. She was even wearing a walking boot. We both went down hard. Fell off the jetway again. Poor mom got even
Sorry.
more beat up. Falling off of the hayride when you already have a boot on.
Mom!
No. Stop
That
the ride.
does sound like awful, though. I mean, I probably would have done the same.
It was my goal in life to get a haunted house blowjob. I've had this on my mind for a really long time, but never had the right girlfriend or the right circumstances to make it happen. I finally started dating this girl that fit the blowjob giving window of our relationship. And October comes around.
This is my
This
year.
was it.
Conditions are perfect.
I straight up told her what I wanted to do, and she was into it, or at least pretended to be. I was so fucking excited. I'm like JoJo
So
the Indian
fucking
circus boy with my naughty new pet. I was so fucking excited. It was time to research the best haunted house. I needed a big one with secluded areas. I also needed to determine the night with the least amount of people, for the blowjob.
Yeah.
I picked the place, excellent reviews, and I picked the night. I even picked a dress of hers I liked and wanted her to wear. I prepped like it was going to be filmed, and when the night came, I was way more pumped than she was.
Shocker.
God damn it.
Yeah, she's like,
this over
can't
with.
wait for this.
We waited in a long-ass line. There were tons of people, still determined. We get in. I don't care the slightest bit about the scares, the actors, or the elaborate setups. I care about a dark corner or some room you can get behind the props. We're about halfway through this thing now, and not even close to a good spot. It's like they knew you were looking for a place to get a blowjob and strategically made it where you couldn't do it. But then, I found a spot. Wasn't ideal, But best yet,
Yes.
I about shove her into this little room inside a room divided by sheets, and it's time. The second I get her on her knees, dude walks in and is like, guys, keep it moving.
Oh,
Busted.
of course.
Damn.
Like 5 embarrassing minutes later, we find an even better spot. We scurry over, and I know I'm only going to need like 30 seconds. This time I actually get my peen out. And the same thing happened. The same fucking guy even.
Oh, no.
He'd been,
Same guy.
He'd been following us, knowing I'm still going to want that blowjob. They must get a lot of blows there. He obviously was right. And we get kicked out for attempted fellatio.
Attempted fillet.
Attempted fellatio in the second degree.
Oh, no.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's hilarious.
It wasted like $40. Just pay me 20.
It kind of needs to, it needs to not be a big one, a huge one. It needs to be like kind of like
Find one that incorporates the
ranking.
woods too. That
Yeah.
helps.
Ooh, woods.
Yeah, and pay me $20 and I'll come and scare you. Just keep it in the car. And when it's time for you to just put your
$20,
hand
I'll
up,
come scare the shit out of you.
Yeah. Stay in
Your
your car.
blowjob and like everybody has a great night.
Totally. Moving on.
There should be a Craigslist ad for that. I think you could really make some cheese there, brother.
Tyler's gonna get some messages. Hey, Bert, would you really do that?
Do that for $20?
Did you do
I
that?
got 20 on that.
So I've been trying for years to get my little sister to go with me to a haunted house. I have been going with friends for years and always thought it'd be fun to go with her and see her lose her shit. One year I finally get her to go with me to this haunted house. It was actually just the closest one I could find to us, far from the scariest around. We get there. She sees it as we drive up. Nope. She heard people screaming from the parking lot, so it took 15, 20 minutes of convincing just to get her out of the damn car. Once we're out and making our way to the line, it gets real bad. She's pulling on my arm, getting hysterical. I looked around and saw the exit on the other side where people were coming out. Found a little batch of boys, maybe 11 or 12 years old, coming out with their dad. Dragged my sister over to them before they could reach the parking lot. I said, "Excuse me, sorry to bother you. Did you boys enjoy the haunted house tonight?" 2 of the 3 nodded, quickly saying yes, while the 3rd said, "It wasn't scary enough. I went to one last year, much scarier." I look at my sister like, "We good?" She hated the display of bothering these people, so she agreed, and we got in the line. By the time it was our turn, she's just shaking and looks miserable. After a couple of rooms and getting the first scare out of the way, she seemed a little better. But I had to keep getting her to move forward. We had to let these people pass us. It was just poor haunted house etiquette. We're probably just over halfway through, and someone saw her as the perfect scare bait, and she was. And so this dude, twice her size, jumps out of a corner. Her immediate reaction was to shove and run, like I brought her to some real house of horror. The actor trips over some prop and falls directly on this old rusty cage. This thing is sticking out of his leg in multiple directions, and this is now an actual real horror scene.
What?
I grab a security guard outside who gets more staff, and we all help carry him outside where there's this little medic station. We waited with him until an ambulance quickly came. We both apologized out of our minds, my sister crying hysterically. He's getting carted away. She starts kicking and punching me, yelling, "Why did you make me come here?"
Oh my god.
Good times.
God.
Good
See,
time.
I
Good
get
times.
that. People react.
I dragged you to crap you didn't want to go to all the time, but most of the time you ended up liking it, and you were cool. You were a trooper.
You're cool. You survived. You're still here.
I just wanted to be a part of the crowd. Like, yeah, I'll be terrified. This is fun. I'm having a
Blair,
good time.
hold this when I tell you to. Shoot, okay?
Okay.
Been dating this girl for like 2 months, and October arrives. Thought it'd be a fun date to take her to a haunted house, and, she'd be scared, grab my arm, romantic. Well, I didn't pick the right haunted house at all. We get there and wait in this 2-hour line where she's freezing cold the whole time already. The mood is sour. Then we finally get to the front, and they hand us each waivers that we're rushed to return to keep the line moving, and this allows them to touch you. New experience for me and her. Once out of the cold, she actually seemed to be liking it. This whole thing was starting to backfire. She's into it and laughing when she's supposed to be grabbing my arm scared, and I'm freaking out that they could touch you and losing my cool. I saw a guy get grabbed and separated ahead of us, a girl get carried away. We get into this cemetery-looking place, and this guy literally flies out of a damn tree over us, and I'm looking everywhere but up.
My God.
By the time I even see it's this werewolf in mid-transition, I feel it down my leg. My date looks back like, "Wasn't that a good one?" And I'm like, I shit myself in skinny jeans.
Oh, the real horror begins.
I had to pretend I
by
had to
far
go to
the
the
most
bathroom
horrific story.
badly so I can go check out the damage. And it was just awful. Not like throw out the pants bad.
I was gonna say, are the
but
pants
so bad
trash?
I actually had to tell her before we got back on my car. She would have found out shortly after.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm not gonna
no.
lie, I shit myself in that haunted house we just went through.
Wasn't that a good one? Yeah, I shit myself.
A blast. Can we go home now?
By the way, my car's gonna stink. I'm
Do you
real
have an extra
sorry.
pair of pants?
You're going to smell my new car freshener. It
Men's
sucks.
Size 34. It smells like asshole.
Horror shits.
What do you say we take an Uber out of here?
We get my car in the morning.
An organization I was part of in college decided to do an outing to a local haunted maze. When we get there and told them we had a big group, probably 15, 20 of us, they literally asked us if we would be willing to work the maze that night because they were understaffed and had a huge wait time. They dressed us up and sent us into the maze with no training whatsoever. It was fucking awesome.
Go scare people.
I would love that. I'd
No
be like, yeah, I'm
training.
into
Yes.
it.
Well,
I'd
what
be
would
like,
their
yes.
training be like? It's just like rules of like this is what you can and can't.
Pretty much.
Get away
Probably,
with.
and like tips and
No real weapons.
I'm glad you asked because now we are going to transition to a different set of stories.
Okay.
With help from Thought Catalog and its Blossom, let's talk about some of the best stories from the staff
Here we go.
at Haunted
Okay.
House.
So not from the guests, but the staff.
Not from the guest, from the employees.
I caught this guy getting 2 blowjobs in the same night.
Yeah.
And I was like, get the fuck out of here, man. And he just kept going, kept getting blowies. And I'm like, dude, one more time, and I'm going to forfeit your entry fee.
I was following this couple all night, and they were clearly just looking for a place to get a blowy.
Not my corner. Get the fuck out.
No, is that
Everyone
that-
thinks
is that-
Tuesday's the most chill night, and they could all come and get blowies.
what I
Well,
was
you know
thinking.
what? Tuesday's blowy night.
Everybody knows it's the slow blowy night.
Everybody knows those.
I was a talking head on a table. A group of 5 people led by a girl comes into my room. When they get close to me, I say, hello, fairly nonchalantly. The girl in front screams and falls backwards with a domino effect, taking out everyone in her group and the group behind her.
Nice. That's like pretty effective. That's like everything that you want from like as a staff member. It'd be like, and
I win.
I totally nailed it.
There's one for me.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Check.
Got 7 in that last hello.
My brother worked at a haunted jail in my town. He said it was all going well until like an hour before it ended. No one was showing up, and he had to take a leak. So he decides to piss in the corner. As he unzips and starts, he hears this talking and commotion. Of course, he couldn't stop. So by the time a large group of people reached the cell and looked in expecting a scare, they saw a wolf man pissing in the corner. He says the only thing he can do is turn his head and growl while he was pissing.
Might as well go with the character.
You gotta play that one out.
Blake, I feel like you would totally do the same thing.
Sorry.
Especially if you were dressed up, you would 100% do that exact same thing.
I feel like, don't look at me.
I got to work in the special VIP attraction last year at my local place. It's basically a really dark trail in the woods, but the actors are allowed to touch guests.
Oh no.
And this one guy shit himself.
Yeah.
there are a bunch of those. Hiding kind of sucks. I had to lay in the mud and grab at people's ankles and then chase after them. But the funniest thing in the world is the lanterns. We give them these little electronic hand lanterns as their only light source, and 2 guys have remotes that can turn them on and off. Every time,
pretty
without fail, the guy's girlfriend is yelling at him to stop turning the lantern off. It's even better if you have a really dark costume, because then you can walk up behind them, lay your hand on their shoulder, and say, yeah, don't turn the lantern off.
Oh my god, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay,
Scare.
see, I would not do the woods. If somebody's like taking me in the woods and grabbing at my ankles and chasing me and it's pitch black, pass.
Standard jump scare scene. A guy with a demon or whatever mask pops out and spoofs a tour, then disappears back behind the wall. But I'm new at this, and it's my first night. I just know I'm excited, and I'm going to get into it like they encourage me to. First time I pop out, I'm going to eat your ass. To remember, you're going to eat my what? I just recede into the shadow as a myth. and done for the night.
All
Then,
right, maybe that was
then the tour member says, "That's fine. No, this is fine." And made me feel better.
It's fine. Keep going. You're doing great.
You're very scary.
You can eat it. I did volunteer once at a haunted house. I was like the chainsaw murderer or something like that. And I had a real electric chainsaw, but with a rubber fake chain. I jumped at one girl who was by herself, but I got no response. So I thought, damn, didn't get her. I looked away for a few seconds, see if someone else was coming, and she was on the floor, fainted, literally pooped herself.
Oh my God.
Froze her solid, and then she just fell over and shit herself. Oh no.
I mean, that could be even more successful than the 7-piece domino effect.
Yeah, that's
Quality stuff.
Fainting goat syndrome.
This one may even top that. My costume was vaguely like the girl from The Ring, just a year or two after the movie came out. Little girl's dress, long black wig over my face. I was pretty tiny back then and quite flexible, so I could contort myself in pretty creepy ways. Add a strobe light and you've got some pretty terrifying movements. Without fail, it was always the huge football players in leather jackets who would absolutely lose their minds in my room, screaming and trying to climb the walls to get away, breaking and running, the whole works. Usually their girlfriends would just be standing by calmly. One guy's reaction was especially delicious. Once he saw me in the corner, contorted but slowly uncurling to drag myself across the floor, he screamed, "Oh, hell no," and ran through the nearest wall.
Oh my
Just
God.
took it right out, made of plywood, plaster, and some drywall. Someone else ended up having to take him to the first aid because even once I was out of character, he still couldn't stand to be near me. I won an award that year for best scare.
I mean,
Quality
sounds
scaring.
like that was a winner.
That would be fun.
For
working
the
a haunted
most
house.
injuries. Contortionist crazy girl. Congratulations.
Hey, everybody, congratulations.
All right.
Feel bad for the guy that went through the cage and had it coming out of his leg, too. That would have sucked.
Oh.
Don't use cheap,
See,
rusty
but
cages.
when
Yeah.
you're messing with people and their emotion, they're.
Fight or flight. You're going to
Fight
get
or
one of the
flight.
two.
It's so true.
Catch a punch or just watch them break something.
I might do the same. I mean, I don't know.
You can't promise that you wouldn't.
I definitely couldn't promise I wouldn't.
I was a psycho chainsaw clown that chased people out of the exit of the haunt. And I'd say the funniest thing is when people lose their shit and just fall over each other. Also, some people just have literally zero survival instinct. And when I jump out and chase them, they don't run. They just immediately cower into a corner. I would yell, "Well, isn't this awkward?" just to make them laugh and usher them out. Also, girls throw more punches than guys do.
Probably.
Yeah,
That's what
for
I'm
sure.
thinking. I would totally. You scare me the wrong way, I will hit you in the face, and that is just. I apologize. That is
I'm
just
sorry for punching you in the nose,
involuntary.
but
It just-
Sorry about that.
you let the tiger out of the cage.
Family of 5 pulls up to a haunt one year when me and a buddy are working the lines. Mom, dad, middle sister, younger brother all get out. Oldest daughter refuses to leave the SUV. Dad comes up to us, hands me the keys to the car, and says, "Go get her.
What?
Bring her in." My friend and I look at each other, then back at him, and I stop and take my mask off. "Excuse me, I just want to make sure I heard this right. You're giving me the keys and telling me that you want me to go drag your daughter out of your car, kicking and screaming?" "Yup. Yes, sir."
Just wanted to clarify. All right, let's go. Sounds good. We're on our way.
We both jog over there. She sees us coming and locks the door and looks all smug. I hold up the key fob and click unlock. Her eyes go wide as she hits the lock again. We do that a couple times before I walk up and put the key physically in the hatchback lock. Auto lock won't function if the key is physically turning the lock to open it. We start crawling into the SUV over the back seats, and she is scrambling and reverse crab walking between the bucket seats, where she actually goes into a full-blown hysterical paralysis and completely loses the ability to move or do anything. We decide that's enough and go give the keys back to the dad and said, "I think we broke her." That's a good one.
That would be so terrifying if you were a teen girl and the keys to the car you were in where you're your safety zone. It's no, that bubble got
No.
popped, girl. Popped. I'm in the car now.
She sounds like she deserves it. If dad was like, "Go get her."
Oh yeah, she was a bitch.
She was a
bitch that
Like,
year.
you go get her.
She's 13.
Scared straight. It's like, you can go to
Yeah.
prison.
Spoiled little bitch.
Or we
get
can
her.
go over to the haunted house and let the boys take a run at you real fast.
She'll be fine. Get her.
I worked in a haunted house for 8 seasons. Most of that, I was a zombie in the graveyard. For the last 2 years, I was chasing people with a chainsaw. Best experience of my life. I cannot tell you how many grown people I've seen piss their pants. And we had one dude shit himself. That was unfortunate. The local radio station held a contest, and the winner could go through our haunted house with a popular rock band, and afterward, the band was supposed to do some meet and greet thing outside. Well, we really gave the band a hard time throughout the house, yelling their lyrics at them and really giving it our all. And at the end, they just ran straight out and directly to their bus. No meet and greet, no passing go. One of my favorite nights ever, though.
No meet and greet. Like, fuck this. So done. So done.
That would be funny.
Was it
Yelling
Def
their
Leppard?
lyrics.
Sounds like something Leopard would do.
It does. I worked at Fear Farm in Arizona. Customers signed waivers to come into my haunt because physical contact was allowed. The theme was a UFO breakout or something like that. A group of guys strolled in complaining about their J's getting dirty as they willingly entered the haunt with dirt floors. So my crew and I knew exactly what to do.
Oh.
Being a haunter got old from time to time, so we'd improvise and mess with customers instead of just scaring them. We each took handfuls of dirt and charged them, threatening to throw it on their J's. Words like a charm, as they were much more scared by the dirt than any jump scare. One guy actually punched me in the face on accident, so I picked him up over my shoulders and ran away with him.
Damn.
He started screaming bloody murder, and my shoulder and back started to get really hot for some reason. We reached the safe zone, and I sat him down, broke character, made sure he was okay, and then I discovered that he straight pooped on me.
Oh.
It was an embarrassing night, getting us both cleaned up. He came through a few nights later, asking for the shit guy. Once he found me, he really apologized. 10 years later, we're best friends to this day.
Wow.
Poop on your friends, kids.
Shit guy.
If you want to make somebody your buddy, just shit on their shoulder.
That's a funny, how did you guys meet? Funny story.
Definitely a bonding experience.
I tell ya. I think I've been to Fear Farm. I've been to most of them in Arizona. I think that was the one that I was thinking of.
Really?
Yeah, they start you out in a van. Like you're out in the middle of
Oh,
nowhere.
this is the one that you've talked about before.
Yeah,
where
I think
they're
that's
like,
the one. Yeah, they start you out in the van and they like drive you through the
Did
middle
you
of the
shit your
dark.
pants?
No, but it was definitely the scariest shit that I've ever been on.
Really?
Yeah, because you just.
So you're not surprised about the shit pants?
I'm not.
Not even a little bit surprised.
Not surprised. It's scary.
One group had a big alpha dude talking shit the entire tour, but when they passed my friend, he snuck up on the group from the back and startled this guy. The alpha then spun 90 degrees, sucker punched his girlfriend right in the face, didn't even realize it, and ran screaming out in a panic.
My God.
Apparently their relationship didn't survive the experience.
She probably already hated him anyway, and then he like accidentally punched her in the face. It's like, nope, fuck, I'm so
It's
get the
over.
fuck out of here.
Fuck off, Travis.
It's been 20 years, but I'll never forget working in this haunted house at this major amusement park. I was wearing a full-body, fuzzy monster suit. I sat on some stairs right as you entered. One bro came in and said, "There's a guy in that suit," and pushed me, and I just fell over. Guess not, he said. As he turned to walk away, I slowly reached out and tapped on his shoulder. He turned around expecting to see one of his friends and found the monster's face right next to his own. He shit his pants, turned and shuffled out the entrance. I could hear his friends laughing for the rest of the time they were in the attraction.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? You'll never let that down.
There was a bunch of shitting your pants stories, I guess. That happens
I
a
didn't
lot,
realize
apparently.
like that many people shit their pants at haunted houses.
It's a thing.
I've shit my pants many a times, but never at a haunted house.
And with that said, let's take a break.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to Something Crunchy, and I hope you're enjoying the episode. It now pays to crunch down every week because we're hooking you up with big discounts from big brands. Up to 35% off Invicta watches using code CRUNCHY and apparel from 8080, where in addition to 10% off using code CRUNCHY, every dollar you spend goes toward an entry into the Dream Car giveaway. Don't forget to join the Something Crunchy Facebook group for updates, polls, and the web's crunchiest memes. You can find us on Twitter at crunch_cast, and feel free to send any questions and your track submissions to somethingcrunchy@gmail.com. Now, let's get back to the show.
we're back. Those were good stories.
Good haunted house stories.
Some quality haunted house stories. Let's move on.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Biscuits.
Yes.
What's up?
What is 2020's highest grossing movie so far?
Oh,
And keep in mind,
In the
there's
box?
less than 2 months
in the box office?
in the box office.
No idea.
It's got to be a re-release.
And it is. And it is.
Star Wars?
That's actually, I think, in second. They re-released the Star Wars movies, and that is actually
so.
in second. The first
What's in first?
is Hocus Pocus.
No way.
What?
It is. It is. And if you remember last Crunchtober, it was when It Chapter 2
yes.
came out, and we talked about It Chapter 1 and Chapter
Yes.
2 and compared it to the 90s one. We did a whole segment
Yes.
on it. It was a movie breakdown. We're doing it again this year.
Love it. All things Hocus Pocus.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
please.
Claire's already watched it like 5 times this year.
Of course.
Halfway through October. It's on every day somewhere.
Well, with help from BuzzFeed and Vaccinate.
Come! We fly!
Oh, I just get so excited.
First and foremost, because of this research, I am exactly today years old when I found out the dude's name is not Zachary Binks, it's Thackeray Binks.
TH?
TH.
What?
No.
Yes.
Thackeray?
Thackeray.
Thackeray?
There was a novelist back in the 19th century named William Makepeace Thackeray, which was most often misspelled as, you guessed it, Thackeray. It's like we learned Mike Tyson is narrating Hocus
Yeah.
Pocus.
No way.
My name's not Ernie no more. It's Ice.
Oh my god.
Though it's a cult classic now, Hocus Pocus didn't do that well when it first came out in 1993, perhaps because it was released in July instead of September or October. Didn't even have a terrible opening, it 8 million or so, putting it in 4th place in the box office that weekend. It fell to just over 2 million a few weeks later, had bad reviews from the critics, didn't help matters.
Not surprising.
Entertainment Weekly was particularly put off by the movie, calling it a piece of corny slapstick trash and saying it's acceptable, scary, silly kid fodder that adults will find mildly insulting, unless they're Bette Midler fans, in which case it's depressing as hell.
I mean, that was definitely a step back for Bet, but
I don't know.
Whatever. Everybody loves Hocus Pocus.
The film took a long time to be made. It took a lot of reworking too. Disney bought the script for Hocus Pocus 8 years before the film was actually produced. Originally called Disney's Halloween House, the concept was much darker and scarier from the comedic film we've come to know. Generally speaking, films set around the specific holidays or that time of year, it'll come like around for the holidays. So it is a little
Right.
strange you would do it in the summer. I get why it
Yeah,
didn't
everybody
do well in
loves
the box
a
office.
July Halloween flick.
But everyone loves that shit now. Very quotable.
Of course. I'm obsessed with Hocus Pocus, please.
Check
be
out the new
ironic.
kid on the block.
it'd be ironic if it came out now and people would love it. It'd probably make like 150 million if it came out in July 2020,
Yeah, probably would.
you know?
Well, it did. Like it
Re-released.
Yeah, re-released. Want to talk about some fun facts about Hocus Pocus?
Of course we want fun facts,
Hocus
Blake.
Pocus.
Yeah, I'm like forever changed by
Thackeray?
Thackeray.
That was the most fun fact I have. Why? That
Yeah.
was the best I got. That was the most interesting
It
to
doesn't
me.
get
I couldn't
more
even talk about anything after Thackeray. That was
I need
news
to
to me.
start off with Thackeray.
T.H. Thackeray. Fun facts. In many other countries, Hocus Pocus is called Abracadabra
Really?
instead of Hocus Pocus.
I thought that was a different movie.
It probably is here, but
Yeah, for
Hocus
sure.
Pocus is called Abracadabra in other countries.
Turds.
Interesting.
Yeah. The idea for Hocus Pocus came from David Kirshner, who was a producer and came up with this story. He created it as a bedtime story originally for his daughters. Max Dennison, Omri Katz, was named after Kirshner, whose middle name is Max. He likes to think of the character as his alter ego. Let's talk about Max for a minute.
Max.
Leonardo DiCaprio was offered more money than he had ever dreamed of to play Max.
Wow.
But he instead decided to do What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Oh, well.
Could have been a good move right there. I mean, Gilbert Grape was one of his best performances.
Yes.
At that age.
Yes. And
Can you imagine how good Hocus Pocus would have been with Leo?
It would have been so much better, but
it would have been so much better.
It wouldn't have made Leo any better.
I love Max Dennison,
Very true.
Omri Katz, but Leo.
If you look back
Come
on
on.
Leo's career, Hocus Pocus wouldn't have been like a memorable one. It would have been like a, oh yeah, he was in that.
I feel like more people can do the Max Dennison character, but there's not a lot of people that can do the Gilbert Grape character.
That's true.
So I think he did the right thing.
Yeah, he picked the range on
Although-
that.
I would have loved more Leo and had Hocus Pocus with him.
Rosie O'Donnell was offered the role of Mary Sanderson, but felt
That would have been good.
she felt uneasy about playing a character who kills children, and that's why she turned it down.
Thinking way too deep about it. It's a Sanderson sister.
It's a Sanderson sister.
They're
it's-
witches.
It's a comedy.
It's a kid's. Yeah.
Disney was doing it.
Yeah.
Like,
It probably
exactly.
didn't read that way though. I'm sure it turned into a comedy after they started doing the scenes, and they're like, "Oh, we can make this a little bit more lighthearted." And
yeah.
on
She's probably like
paper,
with me, somebody would turn it into like, oh, so
she's pretty literal.
Rosie wants to kill
yeah.
kids.
She took that as like, "Oh, I gotta kill kids."
And they did say the original script was more dark and scarier.
I actually do like the Mary.
Before doing Hocus Pocus, Kathy Najimy, who won the role of Mary, was a huge fan of Bette Midler, who played Winnie Sanderson. She snuck backstage to 2 of her concerts to try and meet her, once dressed as a bunny for a singing telegram. She is like a huge
Hardcore.
Bette Midler fan.
Oh, so she was probably just like dying when she got the
She's a-
Mary part.
Yeah.
She's a great actress.
She
Because
is.
if I was
She
her
is.
and I was that big of a fan, I'd just be sitting there staring at Bette the whole time,
Right.
watching her.
She's also one of Jennifer Aniston's like best friends, I think, too.
Really?
Kathy, yeah.
That's cool.
I mean,
Yeah.
I get it. Bette's pretty great.
Yeah.
I like Kathy a lot more than I like Bette, personally.
I love Kathy.
Choreographer Peggy Holmes had lessons with Bette, Kathy, and Sarah Jessica Parker to choreograph exactly how they would ride their brooms or vacuum. Holmes would actually ride with them in their cars to see how they drove. And then she incorporated that into their broom vacuum riding.
Ooh, smart.
Oh, you're one of those real close to the steering wheel kind of types. I'm going to pull that
Yes.
front
So you're
end
gonna,
on
like-
you.
You're a crazy fast driver. Like, you're going to be crazy fast on your broom. You're very aggressive. You're an aggressive
Yeah.
Ooh.
flyer.
I
So
like
that's kind
the
of interesting.
research that they
Yeah,
did.
that's interesting. Blair, what was the most memorable song from Hocus Pocus?
Come, little children, I'll take thee away.
I put a spell on you. Definitely holds up. That arguably is most memorable for some, but I completely agree with you. Come, little children, and it was written by James Horner, who co-wrote and won an Oscar for "My Heart Will Go On" from Titanic.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, then no wonder we were all sucked into that one. It's like,
Written by a true genius.
I mean, obviously we would be obsessed.
he was supposed to compose all of Hocus Pocus, but had to back out last minute, and John Debney was brought in. He went on to score Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ and Hannah Montana, the movie. Those are pretty far apart.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, that's a range.
Can you imagine going from one project to the other? Like, yeah,
whoa.
working on the score for Passion of the Christ, Mel Gibson.
the
And
most
then,
serious thing I've ever done in my life.
and then like slip right into some Hannah Montana, the movie. I bet Hannah Montana, like that was probably a lot more dark and dramatic than it was like intended to be because of Passion of the Christ.
Yeah, I bet you it paid
If
more.
it came
but
second.
probably paid better too.
According to makeup artist Tony Gardner, they had to tone down some of the makeup after Disney deemed it too scary in early tests. So script, tone down, makeup, tone down, too scary.
Tone it all down.
You think of like the witches in like the 80s and like with Angelica Houston, they like her face rips off and she transformed. That was a lot more
For
scary
sure.
and a lot earlier than that, at least 5 years. Shit.
Shit.
In the script, Billy was supposed to call Winifred a bitch
Oh,
when he finally cut
no.
his mouth open.
Oh no.
Doug Jones, who played Billy, thought it was too racy and he changed it to wench. He also wrote the rest of that monologue himself.
Wow.
Really?
Yes. He had 300 years of buildup. He's got a lot to say, Jones recalled.
Wow, when does that ever fly? When an actor's like, I feel like this is really how the scene should go.
Those were real moss flying out of Jones' mouth after he cut the stitches open. They used like a dental dam, some device to keep them from going down his throat. But when they cut open the stitches and the moss fly out, those are real moss.
I did love that moment.
Larry Bagby, who played Ice
We all love ice.
Went on to recur as Larry Blaisdell on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and then played Marshall Grant in the Oscar-winning film Walk the Line. If you remember, he was like the bass player.
Oh my
yeah, for
gosh,
sure.
that's hilarious.
In the trio from Walk the Line.
Yes.
It's ice.
That's ice.
His name ain't Ernie no more. I love this whole segment, by the way. So happy right
You haven't
now.
stopped smiling in the last
I know.
half hour.
It's not going away anytime soon.
Permagrin over here.
Yes.
Oh, this is a fun fact. Charles Rocket, who played Max's dad, Dave Dennison,
Yes.
achieved Ginny Slate-like notoriety when he said fuck during the final moments of a 1981 episode of Saturday Night Live. There's a joke referring in Hocus Pocus to that moment when he asked Max how their school was. Max says, "It sucked," and Dave tells Max, "Watch your language." It's actually a joke about his saying fuck on Saturday Night Live.
So that's why all the
1981.
adults are like,
We remember that. I remember that.
You remember?
oh, that's fun.
Emily Binks. Thackeray Binks. Can we go back to Thackeray? Do you remember that time when I told you it was Thackeray? Did you know that, Blair?
I had no idea. No.
So you were today years
Thackeray
old when you
Binks.
learned? Yeah.
I would have never been like Thackeray Binks.
So
like,
we've never
no.
had subtitles or anything for that, apparently, because
I would have never known. No.
Emily Binks was played by Jodie Amy Riviera, a.k.a. YouTube star Venetian Princess. She's like apparently a big
Ooh, really?
YouTube sensation now.
She is Emily Banks. Obviously.
Forever.
Everybody would want to see what's happening.
So a lot of people like to say that the Hocus Pocus cat was actually used in the Sabrina's Teenage Witch.
Yep.
But there was actually 9 real cats.
I was going to say, there's probably like 15 cats playing this character.
There was 9 real ones that played Thackeray Binks.
Ooh.
Each of them had a different skill. So one was like there for swatting, one slept, they each had a different
for
skill.
sure.
So yeah, what I want to know is how you keep like track of 9 different solid black cats.
Yeah.
Even though you know they're each
Is
for
this
your
the
skill.
snuggler or
like,
the jumper?
yeah.
Because I'm terrified to see which one I go home with.
At the end of the day, when those cats belong to somebody, you're like, yeah, he's in one of the crates over there.
If you're going to pick up my black cat with
Yeah.
yellow eyes, yeah, he's one of those over there.
He's in 6.
5 or 6, definitely one of those.
Definitely 5 or 6.
You might want to hold him for a minute, get a feel for it. Just make sure that's your cat.
Jason Marsden, who also voiced Max in the Goofy movie and played DJ's rich boyfriend Nelson on Full House, voiced Thackeray Binks.
Really?
It was not the initial.
Oh, I was thinking of
It's not the
Steve.
real guy.
Not
You're
Steve.
thinking of Steve.
Fuck is
He voiced Aladdin.
Nelson?
Who's Nelson?
That was the super rich kid. I don't remember him, but
Wasn't there
The rich
like
boyfriend.
For DJ?
for Deej.
DJ's boyfriend?
I just remember Steve with
That's it,
Deej.
with the hair.
Yeah.
Steve with the hair.
He originally read for the role of Max. They didn't give it to him, but they needed him to
We'll
voice
give you a
over.
voice.
Huh.
We'll take your voice, not your face.
Yeah.
Sean Murray, who plays the human version of Thackeray Binks in the film, was the voice of the cat version, Thackeray Binks, first. But he had a contemporary voice, so they had to dub him over with the voice that was more true to the time period. Marsden actually had to dub over Murray's lines as well, so that both the cat version and the human version of Binks had the same voice. So the boy that you see coming out with the human version of
Yes.
Thackeray
course.
Binks,
That's not his
That's
real
not
voice?
his real voice.
Oh my God.
Oh, I need to watch it again.
Wow.
Like now.
That's some good
Really?
editing right there.
Yeah.
I'm
no
like
idea.
watching the kid right now.
that's not his real voice. No, the same voice for the cat
They
and the
did that
kid,
well,
but they
then.
overdubbed it. Yeah. If you haven't seen the movie by now, spoiler alert, okay? The witches die. And they kind of die in a kiln. The reason why I bring this up is actually because of Max. He's celebrating in front of a house that may seem a little familiar, Blair. It's the house from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
What?
And just down the street, the same witch house from the TV show Bewitched. Oh, and the house Thora Birch's character lives in during her later film American Beauty also makes an appearance.
What?
All in the same street.
Wow.
My mind is blown.
The Christmas Vacation
famous
house
Christmas
block.
vacation house? My mind
in
is blown.
Hocus Pocus. It gets better.
How have I never noticed this?
Houses aren't the only recognizable things to pop up in the film. Your fountain from Friends, it's in there too.
What?
It can be seen behind Danny and Allison while they're also celebrating the deaths of the witches. There's the giant
my
Friends fountain
gosh.
and
Yeah.
the house behind the fountain. You can see that whole same park, that whole area is used in Hocus Pocus.
Mind blown. Need to see it again right this second.
Oh my
As
God.
soon as it's like we're done, like I might already start it now.
Thanks, everybody. Good night. We're
Yeah.
gonna watch Focus.
Can y'all finish? Because I like seriously need to know. I need to see this now.
Midler got the statue treatment to the extreme for this film, and it was only for one scene. 7 statues in her likeness were made for that one scene where her character goes poof in the sunlight. You can even check out one of the statues along with Winifred's spellbook at Planet Hollywood in Orlando.
So she was just like, no, this one just doesn't do it for me.
I think they made 7 statues of the same thing, like for the movie and then for different.
I thought they
purposes,
kept
yeah.
making different ones because she like didn't approve of like how they did
Don't
the
like
face
it.
or like
Nope.
oh, my lips are off. Next, nope, try again. After
These
the
look
6th one, they're
weird.
like, bitch, this is it. Okay.
There's a bunch of nitpicky BS we can get into about how certain things weren't invented yet or how stupid it was that Max just opens up a brand new Zippo out of the box from a dusty old gift shop in the abandoned Sanderson house and lights it without needing any lighter fluid. That just drives me fucking nuts. But let's not go through all of those. I do want to mention there was a major point in the storyline that we really need to highlight. The Halloween full moon. This film was set in 1993. There wasn't a full moon on Halloween in the real world that year. In fact, the previous Halloween fully was in 1974. And the next set to happen, 2020,
Oh god.
in less than
of
2
course.
weeks.
Like, why am I so
My
not surprised to hear that?
God.
No wonder this is about such a crazy year.
Halloween fully.
Mercury is in retrograde. We're fucked.
There's been a lot of talk over the years about a sequel. Unfortunately, most of it has been just that talk. Our 3 leading witches all expressed interest in coming back for round 2, but Midler later changed her mind, saying she didn't like the idea of a sequel. In 2010, a Hocus Pocus porn parody was released, though. That's worth getting into.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll delve into that next week.
Yeah. 2 weeks from now.
Yes. Wait, they're all 3 in the reboot, right?
In the porn?
They're not.
No,
No,
not in
the
the
reboot,
porn.
not the porn.
The witches.
There isn't a reboot?
The 2020 Hocus Pocus. They all in it?
What are you talking about? The full moon
The
comes back
full
in
moon's
20.
in 2020.
No, I know, but isn't there like an
It was re-released in 2020.
re-released?
It's a re-release. The original films.
Way off.
My head, I was getting so excited.
Like there was just a new Hocus Pocus you didn't know about?
Yeah, that's all. Like, why am I just like
Where you
It's like a
been,
fucking new
Blair?
the only fucking person and not see this? And
Bet's
not know?
back. Hocus
Where
Pocus
is
again.
Bet?
We talk about
that
every
better be
boot,
back
everything on here. Like we wouldn't have talked about like, oh yeah, Hocus Pocus just casually coming out.
By the way, it's out. Everybody saw it but you.
Well, let's move on to our jam of the week. Everyone knows the best rock songs are about getting on drugs or getting off of drugs. Mm-hmm. Out of Charlotte, North Carolina, this is Disease by Scars Remain.
You know who I am, the puppet master that controls your mind.
one definitely hit home for me. Good stuff, guys. Scars Remain has influences ranging from Alice in Chains and STP to Metallica and Bullet for My Valentine. They came out swinging and now have released 3 singles working with Pangea Productions. Currently, they are celebrating their latest release, What I've Become, which is available on all streaming platforms. Keep sending those tracks to somethingcrunchy@gmail.com. There's no G in something. And come soch with us. We're on the gram at Something Crunchy, and our Facebook group will keep you laughing during the week. Come get weird in the Something Crunchy Facebook group. It's not suitable for work, just like we are.
That's right.
This wraps up another episode of Something Crunchy, and come back next week. It's the last episode of Crunchtober, so you know it's going to be a good one. As always, don't forget to live your crunchiest life.
Be crunchy to one another. Cheers.
Please don't forget to subscribe, like, follow, and all that crunchy good shit. Thank you for listening.
Is it Najmi? Najami? Najmi? I even looked it up earlier. Son of a bitch. Fuck. I hate my life.
Hokey pokey, Natalie.
You also
Jamie.
said something weird with, Hocus Pokey.
Well, that just needed to be done.
Over $120,000 from the drug industry and opposed lowering.
Come on, ad. I just need the pronunciation.
Come on, political ad.
By leaving Arizona.
Katina Jimmy.
Najimi. Kathy Najimi.
Kathy.
Katina Jimmy.
Okay. Shit.
Shit. Fuck off, Travis.